Lila Guide number 12. That is interesting, what the ancient Egyptian civilization gave to the world. First Nation and government, agriculture, astronomy, calendar, medicine, embalming, religion, architecture, art, industry, and boat construction. On one side we had a rich person's house. If I were a rich man. And next to it we have a peasant's house. Get to sit here all day, freeze. The Pharaonic Village has quite a few different museums. There was one dedicated to Anwar Sadat. This one is mummification. And the Egyptians considered that the soul of the deceased would return to the body at regular intervals, so it was important to have all these offerings. The soul would magically partake of the offerings. The earliest account of mummification is that of a Greek traveler, Herodotus, who visited Egypt around 450 BC. The actual embalming was always the same, but the expense came in with the bandaging, the number of amulets. Brain was removed, the organs were removed, and they were all put into canopic jars, separate jars. The different herbs used in mummification, natron to dry out the body. For those of you who are interested, you've got to look at the video on my website about the Marquis of Dai, the woman who is mummified, that I took in the museum in China. A true spectacular example of mummification. You could even see the flesh on her knees, the indentations. It's interesting, the heart scarab was placed on the breast, begging the heart not to act as a hostile witness against the person's soul when it was weighed against the feather of truth in the judgment hall of Osiris.
To protect the tomb or the grave from inside, especially if it is on the side of the tomb. Sorry.
Here's a perfect example of how they built not actually built, how they erected the obelisks. Up the old ramp, tuck it right down into it. On the logs. That's basically what we saw in Aswan when we looked at the unfinished obelisk. Can you imagine them bringing those obelisks all the way up here? The first pyramid at Saqqara, when they experimented with how many layers can a person actually build in a pyramid before it collapses. What you were looking at are three different examples of how they conjecture the pyramids were built. Method 1. And method 3. This diorama shows the elements that went into every single pyramid that was built in Egypt. First the temple, then the causeway, the funerary temple, the fence wall, and then finally, entombed inside the pyramid.